Good morning, everyone. This is Larry Everett with Hyperspace Beacon, and we recorded the Sci-Fi MMO show last night live on Twitch, and unfortunately we had some audio issues, and I wasn't able to get all of the interview that we had with the Secret World, former Secret World developer Rhys Yorke, and but we did get the last part. We did get the last part where where the audience and the viewers from Twitter and from Tumblr asked questions, and that turned out all right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut really quickly to the last part of our interview. So I apologize. This is only about maybe a third of the show that we did last night, but I think a lot of the questions that you had were answered, and it's very interesting. Rhys had a lot of really cool things to say. So without further ado, here is last night's Sci-Fi MMO show with Rhys Yorke, developer of MMOs. There was a question in chat about add-ons, and I can't find it anymore. Forgive me, so I won't be able to say who actually said it. That kind of, leads us onto the next segment here, which is where it's Ask Rhys. I guess that's we'll make it a segment now. You're now a segment, Rhys.
Excellent.
Yay!
He asked what do you think? Obviously, you can only speak for yourself. You can't speak for everybody, but in general, well, you could try. In the gaming community in general, what have you heard about, or MMO community specifically, what have you heard about add-ons, and what do gaming developers and what do you personally think of add-ons when it comes to games specifically, like WildStar's doing and like ESO is doing, those kinds of things?
I think any sort of player-generated content is great, and I think that a developer nowadays especially would be foolish not to try to leverage that's a great thing that the community brings to a game, is their own creations, anything from quest development to add-ons and that sort of thing. And even Blizzard took a lot of some of the innovations that came with from the community and incorporated it into the base part of the game themselves. I think it's great. I mean, no developer is going to sort of admit that they know everything about a game, and a game evolves. So if a game can evolve with the help of the community, with developing add-ons and that sort of thing, that's awesome. I think any developer should take advantage of that for sure.
One of the questions, and excellent answer, by the way. I think I totally agree that add-ons are just amazing, and I think that, and even when you see things in like Skyrim and whatnot, where they're just in fact today I reported on Portal 2 that this individual using the maps and the tools that the developers gave, that Valve gave for Portal 2, he created like a whole new episode of Portal, and it's 6 episodes. I gotta try it out, and I can't say the name. It's like Cosmonology or something like that. It's I gotta check it out because it looks really amazing. So I like add-ons as well. I like anything player-generated content, and I think they help the game keep going. And now, speaking of that, and speaking of what the community is able to accomplish within MMOs, Brian LeClaire, who's a follower of us on Twitter, and he goes by the handle Simeon1. He asked a really cool question, and it's fun. It's one that I've heard far too many times from developers. He says, "Why do we still hear sentences from developers, specifically MMO developers, that start with 'We didn't anticipate the volume'? Why do we still hear that after especially after WoW, and after 9 years of WoW now, and then beyond, like 15 years of MMOs. Why do you think we still hear that kind of thing?
That's everybody plans and plans and plans for a smooth launch, but as we demonstrated tonight, excellent planning, by the way. As we demonstrated tonight, nothing goes according to plan. One of the things as well is that the development community is pretty closed-lipped as to what they share with each developer. So Blizzard might not share its tech specs or how they launched the original World of Warcraft, what went well, and that sort of thing. You don't really get that information unless the lead software engineer from Blizzard went over and worked for ArenaNet or something, and then they can bring that information with them. But unfortunately, that sort of thing is not shared, which is unfortunate, because we could have a lot smoother launches and a lot smoother game engines and that sort of thing if we did share a little bit more information. But again, it's like good planning. It'll be fine this time. Everything works in test. Good programmers will write test-driven development and a lot of tests and testing the servers and that sort of thing. But unfortunately, it rarely holds up to going live. So,
what do you think that is? That I know there's competition and things along that line, but and at the end of the day, really, from my experience, game development companies share developers all the time. Yeah. It's a real common thing for one developer to jump from one studio to the next studio to the next studio, and it really is, from my perspective, a pretty tight community as far as the if you'd compare it to some other industry, it's pretty tight, and
it's very much like the film industry in that sense.
Yeah, why do you think it is that that there isn't a lot of sharing?
It's mostly, I think, the sort of the high end, the investors, because of a lot of times when you're developing a game, you're sort of reinventing the wheel for the most part. They feel that it's basically trade secrets. So as a developer, you can't even discuss, whether your game is gone gold unless it's been publicly announced, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of things that, if, we all went out to a bar and a couple of guys from EA were there and, we could certainly chat about, all kinds of stuff, hockey, whatever, but we couldn't necessarily talk.
You're a Canadian after all.
Exactly.
Hockey is very important.
Exactly. But you couldn't necessarily talk about, the work that you're doing. Which is unfortunate, because a lot of developers face the same challenges when they're developing a game. Whether it's a creative challenge from how do you keep a player engaged with while introducing a gameplay mechanic, or whether it's a technical challenge of like how do we load up our servers and how do we that sort of thing. So it's unfortunate, but everything just seems to be very secretive in that, and it's unfortunate because we could really sort of benefit from helping each other out.
Even if you all sign NDAs.
Yes.
And threaten to take you out back and break your knees.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But I did a talk not too long ago with the IGDA, which was the International Game Developers Association, about project management and producing, and even the methods for how to manage a team is not really shared between developers. So it's that's actually really sadder. That's sadder to me than not sharing code. I mean, I can understand why you don't share code in that kind of thing because it's copyrighted material, but how to manage a team, that's pretty sad. Another question on a kind of completely unrelated note. This comes from Darth Nader, which, by the way, one of the best names you could possibly have on the internet. He's a commenter for Hyperspace Week, and he said he asked, what elements do you see in MMO space, MMO's genre, let's say, that might be considered no longer popular, or at least not the main focus
of the current generations of players. Maybe something that, like, for instance, existed in EQ that doesn't exist in the modern MMO, or you wouldn't see crop up again in an MMO. What do you think?
I would say text. Players, no, but it's true. I mean, a lot of
Sorry, Larry, no more chat bubbles.
Don't like to read.
Dang it.
And read through quests and that sort of thing. And we are seeing as we move on through the different generations of MMOs, that sort of thing disappears. So you don't have to read through a long text line. This is go out and slay 10 dragons and then come back and find 8 chickens and turn them purple, and that sort of thing. So we are sort of seeing a more streamlining of that. But again, that's just sort of a different method of storytelling as well.
So you're thinking that you will see more things like more voiceover and that sort
absolutely.
of thing versus everything's, you think, leaning towards the ESO and the Star Wars: The Old Republic model as far as storytelling is concerned. And
the technology now supports more of that as well. Part of it was a technology thing too, so
bandwidth and those kinds of things as well. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. But also to add to that, I love crafting and that sort of thing, and I think that's one thing too that we're starting to see that sort of died away for quite a while, and now we're starting to see it come back a little bit. So that is something that I think is probably not going to be a main focus anymore, unless you have a game specific like Landmark or something like that, which is awesome. But I was worried that that's the way we were going, because I love crafting and sort of the player driven economy and that sort of thing, and it was sort of sad to see it head in that direction. But I think it is making it come back. So I would love to see developers in general just try different things. But I think to answer that question, absolutely it would be text. Text would be the main thing. We probably won't see much coming back, unless it's like you're reading books or something in the like ESO. You find books and
one other thing, going off of saying that you off the thread that you like crafting and that kind of thing. One of the commenters asked, what kinds of games do you play, and what do you like? What is out there right now? Besides Secret World, because we know that's awesome, right? Mm-hmm. What other kinds of games are out there that you like?
Well, I've always been a huge Star Wars fan, so I mean that was one game that I definitely hopped on as soon as I bought the collector's edition. I was there, was into it. The guild I was with at the time, all raced to the highest level. I think it was 50, and then it was like, they're done. They're like, there's nothing to do. Okay, we're out of here. So they left, and then I was like staying there. I'm still like level 12 or something. Oh, this is an awesome story. Look at this. And I got to try this other story over here. And meanwhile, everybody else is gone. So definitely Star Wars, and I think it's a shame that it sort of got the reception that it did, because I think it has evolved into a pretty awesome game. Right now, I've been really, really busy with different projects, so I haven't had much chance to play Star Wars, but I'm definitely getting back into that. I'm definitely going to be trying WildStar, absolutely. I definitely... I try to get involved with betas in all the games that are announced, and at least try them. Anything that comes out, I'm definitely playing, at least for a little while. It's sort of part of the job, I guess, is that you have to play, whether you like it or not. And I think playing a bad game is great too, because you learn. I mean, there might be some things in that game that you find that they do quite well. And there might be things that you think, oh, I never do that, and this is why I never do that, because it's terrible, that sort of thing. So
yeah, it's really funny. The guys at Extra Credits, who I admire those guys a lot, and one of the things that they said was, if you're going to be a game designer, play bad games. And that's one of the big things that they kind of pushed, is that, hey, if you got to know what to do wrong, or what is wrong out there, and why things work and why other things don't. Because if you see everything that is right all the time, you might get the misconception that just because you copy them or do the exact same thing as them, then you'll be right too. That's how so many WoW clones came out of the gate. I think.
Oh yes, yeah, that's a whole other. We could do a whole episode on
probably
how not to copy WoW. So yeah,
exactly. So before let me see, before we close this up here, I do want to. There was one other question. Oh, I don't know how much you are. How much you pay attention to the Korean or the Korean and just Asian market in general, but we do have a question in here. What do you think about that market, and do you think it's going to in any way surpass what the United States is doing, or the North America and Europe?
I think it's really, really important. I found this out when doing the Secret World, was that to understand that different cultures approach gaming in different manners, and that you, as a game developer, you really, really have to understand that. Where developing a game for a Western audience is going to be different to developing a game in a different country. So I'm really excited to see what's coming out of these other countries, and sort of what sort of things that, whether they're pushing a new mechanic, or, different ways of storytelling and that sort of thing, different ways of player interaction. I think it's really exciting to see, that, because again, if you're a game developer and you're only focusing on, playing and referencing and developing for a North American audience, you're really doing yourself a disservice too, because we're a world community, and it's important to learn from every kind of developer. So I'm really interested in seeing what's coming out from other countries, for sure. Absolutely.
Excellent. So I think that about does us. We went way over time, but we ran into
we didn't crash again.
So we didn't crash. Yay! So yay! All right. Anyway, I do want to one more question. This is for both you guys, and I want to try to end every show with this question, because on every Monday I ask a question of the Hyperspace Beacon audience. I call it Monday Meditation. This time was a little bit different, because I asked them to give me questions for Rhys. Well, I can't really ask Rhys to give questions for himself. That's kind of weird. So I'll ask a question here. If there was one thing,
I do it all the time, though.
I know you do. If there was one thing that you could change about how the games industry works, what would it be? I'm going to ask Laura first, and then I'll go to you.
Why are you going to put me on the spot? I don't know. Ask Rhys first.
Okay. Well, we'll go to Rhys first, because I know he has an answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think definitely, I sort of covered it before, was that just sharing the development process, being more of a community, because again, it is a pretty small community still of developers. I think that would benefit gamers as much as it would for developers too, because we would be able to develop games faster, more efficiently, on lower budgets, and I think it would benefit everyone in that sense.
Excellent. What do you think, Laura? What's the one thing that's missing from the games industry and how it works? What is one thing that they should change?
I think there should be more communication with the people that are going to be playing the game. Even if the feedback isn't always taken, put more out there. I don't know. I don't work in the games industry.
I agree.
Not a good question for me.
Okay, anyway, can I have one more? I also think there should be more women in the game industry. I think that would help the industry overall. Yeah,
that helped just about every single industry, if you ask me. But definitely the games industry. I'll agree with you there. And for those of you that I didn't get the question, I didn't get to ask your question. You asked it in chat, or if you asked it in the comments. Rhys will come on. Well, you will come on again, right, Rhys? Yes? No? Too much for you?
Yeah, I will. If you ask me back, I will.
All right. We'll have Rhys on. We'll have Rhys on again, not next week, but sometime in the future, and I will definitely get to some more of those questions. But in the meantime, I'd like to thank Rhys for coming on. Thank you very much, Rhys. You can follow Rhys if you want to, and actually, please do. He needs more followers. He doesn't have enough followers on Twitter. You can follow him at Rhys Yorke. Make sure that you spell Rhys right with a Y and York with an E, and you will get him on Twitter. He does. I don't know how. I talked.
I'm going to go follow you right now, Rhys.
Everybody should.
Gee, Laura, I followed you.
Oh.
I don't know. Let me go check.
Oh. Anyway, and you can also follow Laura, who probably will not follow you back. You can follow her on Twitter at VoidMinx, that's with a Y, and also, as I said before, Nefarious Intent, nefariousIntent.engine.com, ENJIN, and you can also follow us at HSBeacon on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Shadow, SHADDOE. Like and subscribe to our YouTube. And if you really, really like what we're doing, you can go to our Patreon page and give a subscription for us for every month. It's a voluntary subscription service that keeps this show and the other things that we do on Hyperspace Beacon going. You can go to patreon.com/hyperspacebeacon. And next week we are preparing for the launch of WildStar, so we're going to give some tips and some things around the internet that we found very interesting that you should know before you step into WildStar. Don't miss that next week. Again, thank you, everybody that is in the chat room, everybody that's watching on YouTube. I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.